Hello, movie friends. Welcome back to the show. Hope you had a great week. There is a ton of exciting and controversial news going on this week. We thought we'd dive right into it. Let's go.
I'm wearing all black head to toe because I'm mourning the loss of the Blade movie because this movie seems completely doomed, and I just had a feeling that there was going to be trouble with it. I don't know why, but I would have been surprised if Marvel pulled it off cleanly, but I'm just, I'm so disappointed right now because...
How about you fill us in on what exactly
first of all,
happened?
this past week, director Bassam Tariq had dropped out from the project, and this movie, again, is supposed to start filming October 22nd.
This month.
This year. And then after that, it's rumored that the script is going to be completely rewritten because Feige just finally looked at the script for the first time. The studio is finally looking at the script, and they are not happy with it. And also Mahershala Ali is getting more and more frustrated with the project because, he's Mahershala Ali. He's a two-time Oscar winner. The guy's busy. He's in demand. And he wants to play Blade. And I guess he's not impressed with the script. The script, I guess, is... They said it's 90 pages. I don't really care about the length because 90-minute movies still work. But that's about 100 and... that's 100 and... I'm sorry. It's 90 minutes, 90-page script. 1 page per minute. Excuse me. That's usually
You're doing great.
That's usually how scripts work when you translate it or think of it as filming it into an actual movie. So there'd be a 90-minute movie that's really fast, especially for a Blade movie. You'd expect Blade movie to be maybe around 2 hours because it's such a beloved character. And the thing with this project is this movie is going to be under a huge microscope because of how much fan love there is for the character, because we've seen 3 cinematic versions of the character with Wesley Snipes. We've seen 3 movies with him. So we love Blade so much. Blade was bigger in our lives than Batman or Superman ever were when we were kids. We were obsessed with Blade. He was our favorite superhero for 100%, years. Until Batman Begins and Spider-Man started coming up. We were obsessed with Blade. He was the man. So people like us, we really are expecting Marvel to nail Blade, but it seems like this thing is just doomed from the start.
I find it really so shocking that a movie could get into pre-production so far to be only a few weeks out from its principal photography. And the producer of the film hasn't even read the screenplay yet. I just find that so insane, and it really doesn't make any sense to me. And it makes me question: is there even is Feige or anyone else involved reading scripts that are being produced for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and even the TV shows? If he hasn't read Blade, which is one of their tentpole pictures in the next couple of years, and also a very important property for them going forward. If he hasn't even read Blade, what else is he not reading? And what else isn't being looked over? Are there second drafts being written of anything? Are there second sets of eyes being looked over on any of these scripts? It's really making me wonder, how that happens. Because, okay, I get if maybe there's an episode of one of the TV shows. He can't read every script. He's a busy guy. He can't read all the screenplays. But then it made me wonder, at least he is aware of the outline of a TV series. But to not read the screenplay of a $200 million movie you're producing, it's very odd. I've never heard of such a thing before. A producer should be well aware of what they're about to invest in. I find it so strange. It got within a couple of weeks of its actual photography.
I'm wondering if Mahershala even got a script until recently, which is why he's been frustrated because maybe no one's gotten them a script yet. And also, rumor is that Feige's quote unquote being stretched too thin. I mean, he's overseeing 15 TV series and 16 movies development at the same time. He's not the producer on every single show, I believe, or every single movie, but he's the guy. He's in charge of everything. He's the president. He's overseeing it, but obviously I think things have changed since Disney came in and took over Marvel. So maybe he's not the full top of the food chain in terms of being aware of all the projects at the same time, in terms of what's being made, what the scripts are like, what the stories are like anymore. But I still find it really surprising that, especially with Blade, any other movie, whatever, but this is Blade. It's such a beloved character, and they have to get Blade right. They really do. Of all the movies in Phase 4 in this year that we've seen, I don't really count No Way Home so much in the MCU because it's such a big Sony production. I never really like to count that in the scope of the MCU because that's a 75% Sony production. Sony characters. We got 2 Spider-Men coming from the other universe here from Sony, so that's only technically 25% a Marvel MCU movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. But in terms of what they've been doing this phase and going forward, Blade might be their most important movie, and the fact that they don't have it figured out 3 weeks before filming is pretty odd. It's pretty shocking.
Yeah, it's just I've never heard of such a thing before, and
Well, for like a Marvel movie, obviously plenty of movies have gone to production without a full script, but without a director and script.
Yeah.
Without a director,
I mean, Ridley Scott making Gladiator without a script, okay, but he's Ridley Scott. He has 30 years of making several masterpieces and 20 great movies.
but yeah, it's not like a director dropping out. It's not like he dropped out last minute, but to have the director drop out and then the rumors that the entire script needs to be rewritten 3 weeks before production, are they going to hit that date? Or are they trying to? Do they have to rewrite the entirety of the movie? And also, do you know when the movie takes place?
No.
So this is the setting of MCU's Blade reboots. Kind of surprising. According to the reports, the reboot is currently set during the 1920s and will feature European vampires among its cast of characters. The story will possibly extend beyond the early 20th century as well, with talk of Blade unfolding across multiple time periods and locations, including the present-day Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, also the rumor is that Brian DeMeo, who was working on Bo DeMeo, who's currently writing X-Men 97 and also has writing credits on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Moon Knight, and The Witcher, is supposedly, rumor has it, coming in to rework the script that Stacey Osei Kuffour wrote, who previously worked as the story editor on HBO's Watchmen show. I think this is the first movie that she's ever written, and I don't know if Bo DeMeo has even written a movie himself, because it seems like he's only worked on TV shows. I also find it surprising to not have a veteran screenwriter coming on maybe to work on this project, and only having people who've worked in TV writing a movie might not have been the strongest idea for a script.
Marvel has been doing this thing, and it can work and it can't work, where they'll hire a director with a recent hit in the indie world.
Like an indie, yeah. Like,
indie director.
It's always like an indie hit.
Yeah, and then they'll give them the reins to a movie like... but sometimes it works, like the guy who made the Spider-Man movies, John Watts, he made this movie called Cop Car. Kevin Bacon, small independent movie, hardly anyone saw it, very good. That was his only credit, and then Marvel tapped him to make Spider-Man, and it really worked out. But then sometimes, they stick to that route, and they keep hiring, kind of inexperienced directors who haven't really worked on anything even more than like $5 million for a budget, and without working in a corporate culture environment in terms of producing a film. Like they maybe worked on a film where it was just like modest budget, a lot of freedom involved in shooting, and kind of being able to be a true artist and do whatever they want with the film. Whereas when you go into the corporate world, you have a lot of rules, and Marvel, Disney, they have things you want to do, so you have to follow their guidelines and you have to work within their parameters. And so I think that sometimes it might be a mistake to hire such inexperienced filmmakers to make huge tentpole productions. Maybe one or two or three films, yeah, they have some experience, but a lot of these directors only have one film under the belts, and if it's a film, it's a very small film.
Yeah, the best example of it working out so well is Ryan Coogler, who made Fruitvale Station, then Creed. He did both those movies. Fruitvale Station, incredible independent film. And then obviously Creed isn't an independent film. That's a reboot of a franchise.
I say Coogler cannot... He already made a big studio picture before Black
Exactly,
Panther.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
what I mean. That's what I mean, where like you have a very talented young director, because Marvel likes these young indie directors. And then with Ryan Coogler, they saw that he completely proved himself to be a stellar filmmaker, not just with a great indie hit with Fruitvale Station, but then being able to do it with a big budget franchise and a reboot. Probably what was Creed, probably like a $50 million budget.
Yeah, maybe more.
So and then him moving to Black Panther, making one of the most successful superhero movies of all time, and one of the most loved superhero movies of all time with Black Panther, knocked it out of the park, firing on all cylinders over there with that movie. Shows maybe that's the right trajectory, is to have an independent filmmaker on your list and see what they do with a budget that isn't a $200 million movie, maybe like $30-50 million, and see what they do there before hiring them to take on a project that's going to be a $250 million budget.
And this also makes you think back on when Edgar Wright left the Ant-Man project because he wasn't given the freedom that he was promised, and also the reason for that was he and Feige, they weren't communicating over like the several years that he was working on the story. And so when he came to Marvel with his screenplay, they were like, this doesn't work.
It's probably an amazing screenplay.
Yeah, it was probably great, but then Marvel was like, we can't have this if it doesn't fit what our plans are.
Can you do more stuff with the quantum realm?
Yeah.
Edgar Wright's like, what's the quantum realm?
And so it was a lack of communication and a lack of oversight, which seems to be the problem here again, is lack of communication and a lack of oversight where nobody, like, I can't believe that the producer of the film didn't even read the screenplay and nobody else, like none of the Marvel producers or executives or the people up top, nobody was aware of the script. I find that so crazy.
Yeah, you would think that this multi-billion-dollar production studio would want like weekly drafts of their scripts.
I would think they would be super strict about it. That's what would make sense to me. I understand you. It's a common process. You hire a writer, and they send a draft to the studio. They get notes, rewrite it, notes, rewrite it, notes, rewrite it. That's how it traditionally is done. And then when the studio feels happy, they'll move forward. If they don't feel happy, they'll hire another writer to rework the script.
That happens. That's been happening with us at 20th Century Studios for some content lately. Like we sent a thing, they asked us to redo it.
That's standard of practice. It's the way it goes. And so I find it so crazy that like none of that happened with the production of the pre-production of this film.
It's pretty odd. And I'm really disappointed because I love Mahershala Ali, one of my favorite actors working today. He's one of the most talented actors of his generation. Everyone knows that. And then he's the perfect casting for Blade to reprise this role that Wesley Snipes made so iconic in the 1990s and early 2000s. And now, 3 weeks before production, no director anymore. Rumors of the script being completely rewritten or completely reworked. And it's just really disappointing. I'd be shocked if they hit their production date. And even if they do hit their production date, you can tell that this movie might have a lot of issues because they're going to probably be figuring it out while they're shooting, while they're filming. So maybe they're going to try and tighten up the parts where they have filming set up for October and September, but then
they need a director.
I know, they need a director ASAP, and it's tough because being a director on a movie, especially a big budget film like this, you are involved in every facet of the production, and you're the leader. So to have your leader, who's basically the artistic vision of the movie, leave 3 weeks before production, I want to know that story of why he left the film. Maybe he read the script finally and was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think it fits with me creatively. We don't really know why he left. We got like a corporate answer from Marvel, but we don't really know why he left.
We might never know.
Maybe.
It's pretty wild news, honestly.
But let's move on to more news.
Some happier news,
but it might be not less happy than you think. So we got the great reveal and tease and announcement that Deadpool 3 is going to happen and Hugh Jackman's going to come back as Logan one more time to be Wolverine with his buddy Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool 3. It was an amazing tease. It broke the internet, went viral immediately. People losing their minds. We lost our minds. This is incredibly exciting news. If they keep it rated R, I will not completely trust Disney to say they're going to keep it rated R and then last minute make them be PG-13.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds would never make a PG-13 Deadpool. Never.
Just saying.
He would never.
Just saying.
Spent 15 years trying to get it made, and he did it his way.
Just saying. Disney likes to keep that Marvel umbrella PG-13.
I'll bet $100 they keep it rated R.
Want to bet 25?
$25. It's rated R.
Handshake in the air?
Handshake.
$25 that it's not going to be rated R.
$25 that it will be rated R.
If it's rated R, then I cannot wait. And this is also just really surprising because D23 was just happened 2 weeks ago. You would think that they would announce this then at that event. That would have been the biggest news of the year. That would have been the event to showcase that.
I think that's also like, that might be another sign that it's going to be rated R, separate thing.
Maybe, but also you could look at it as like, is Marvel looking at what they've been producing the last year? And maybe I think audiences are really mixed about how they're feeling about the way the projects have been the last couple of movies and these TV series. Not everyone's in love with them. The quality has changed for sure since Disney took over. Is this like a big swing to get fans back into the MCU, back excited with the MCU? Whether you've had superhero fatigue, I've had superhero fatigue too. I mean, we still saw the movies. I enjoyed Doctor Strange and Thor was pretty funny and a good time. But I'm still experiencing that superhero fatigue. But is this something that's going to pull both people out of superhero fatigue and also get you excited for the MCU going forward if you haven't completely loved all their projects this year?
I mean, I honestly have superhero fatigue, and I haven't been watching the shows because there's too many, and I like watching.
Anybody got time for that?
Yeah, I like watching other things. They just have so much content, the Disney umbrella, and so I've decided not to watch the TV shows because there's so much other stuff to watch. But I think that Marvel is kind of like looking for something to get people really interested again. And I think he might be onto something that people are obviously less interested than they were 4 years ago. And I would like to see Hugh Jackman's contract.
Imagine if No Way Home didn't come out, like how people would feel about the MCU right now. And remember, that's a 75% Sony production, everyone.
Yeah.
Let's
Sony got most of that money.
It is MCU canonically, but it's also Sony canonically, Sony canon, and it's Sony made that movie essentially, the majority of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's kind of like we need something. Maybe they just figured maybe they're just shooting their shot, and like a week ago they're like, we need to get something going. We need a new project because they knew Blade was gonna have a falling out going into production.
But I also think maybe Ryan's has been trying to get Hugh to do this for maybe more than a week.
But Hugh didn't want to do it. Hugh retired from Logan, man. He put the clause up. I think like I said, the check.
I want to see Hugh Jackman's contract.
I want to see how many zeros are on there.
I want to see that thing. How much back end percentage does he have?
He's probably getting like 10%.
Because Ryan gets paid for Deadpool. He is producing back end, so he made like $100 million on the first Deadpool, something like insane like that. Like he makes Tom Cruise level money when he makes a Deadpool movie, like Tom Cruise makes on Mission Impossible movies. Hugh Jackman, I think there might be two reasons. He's kind of like been teetering off since Logan.
Reminiscence didn't do well.
Reminiscence was poorly received and did horrible at the box office. His last several movies have all just kind of been very much under the radar. He was in a good movie, where he played a principal. I can't remember the name of it, with Allison Janney. It was excellent. HBO Max movie. But other than that, last 5 years or so, I can't think of anything that people have been excited about for him. He has been doing a lot of theater work as well, though. But keep in mind, I'm not saying anything bad, but like when you get a certain amount of money, you might develop a certain lifestyle, and that certain lifestyle might need more money to maintain. That's what my opinion is. And
Could be his last chance at a quick 50 mil.
So he might be like, you know what, $50 million might be nice. I could have a lot of fun on set with one of my best friends for 6 months. It would be a really enjoyable experience. Why not? It could have a lot of laughs, make a lot of money, entertain millions of people. It's a win-win-win all around.
Really is.
So I'd say, even though he even though he retired the clause, I think it's such a great situation for him where he's like, I gotta say yes. Like, why not?
I think it's a lot. I think it's all that.
Yeah.
Everything that I said and you said all combined into one. I think Marvel's like, we got to do something.
I would never say I would choose differently. I would probably do the same thing.
Now, let's move on out of the MCU. Actually, no, we have one more MCU thing, and then we're going to move on to other movies and stuff. So, Werewolf by Night is a series that gets released on October 7th. Now, this is a horror black and white series that's directed by Michael Giacchino, the amazing composer who you know from many Marvel movies. He just did the Batman. He's done the Star Trek films. So he's one of the top working composers right now. Directed this, and Kevin Feige's calling it quite important to the future of the MCU. And I agree with Feige because it's going to prove to audience, hopefully they wanted to prove to audiences, that they can make things that aren't just for kids. And it's supposed to be very gory and very cool and campy, like a classic horror film. I can't wait to check it out.
Cool.
Shot it black and white. I'm not sure if he shot it on film, but he shot it black and white, which gave him the ability and freedom to do
bloody.
A lot more gore. Exactly. Yeah. A lot more blood than he would have to, that he wouldn't be able to do if it was just a colored Marvel project. So I'm really looking forward to checking this out. Something new from the MCU that isn't really completely superhero related. I don't know if the werewolf's like a superhero. I don't know. I don't know what it's based on. We'll find out. Maybe he probably has.
There's got to be someone with superpowers. I mean,
werewolves do have super.
If it's in the MCU, it's someone with powers in it.
So I'm curious to see.
It looks cool.
Really,
it looks
I'm
cool.
looking forward to it. I respect Michael Giacchino a lot, and I think that's why Kevin Feige's saying it's such an important project.
It looks very different from anything they've done. So I'm surprised it's going to be on Disney Plus.
Let's stay on horror
for them
and stay in black and white for a little bit. So Robert Eggers, even though The Northman eventually finally turned a profit with the streaming and VOD and post sales, post movie theatrical release sales, he is getting funding for Nosferrado, his remake that he wants to make, his new adaptation of the original classic, and he just cast Bill Skarsgård as the lead character and Lily Rose Depp. This is really exciting news, in my opinion. You know, we really need filmmakers like Robert Eggers to keep making big movies and movies like he just made with The Northman. So I'm stoked about this.
Is Skarsgård playing Nosferatu?
Yes, sir.
That's cool.
Yes,
Good casting. He must befriended him while he was working with his brother, I'm sure.
Probably. Probably hang out.
Must be tight. That's cool casting. And Lily Rose Depp is a very good actor. She did an excellent job in The King.
Yeah, she's really great in The King. You're right. Underrated Netflix movie starring Timmy. Underrated. So that's really exciting news.
Also, speaking of Timmy, the official trailer for Bones and All was released, and it looks epic. It looks incredible. Luca is such a great filmmaker, and this comes out in November, I believe. Yeah, November.
I think so.
Yeah, November, and it's on the next watch, like my next most anticipated movie.
It looks so unique and original. It's really hard, I think, and I can't really think of other movies that seem to have pulled it off because this movie looks great, to blend horror and gore so well with romance and beauty.
Yeah.
And Luca's just looks like he nailed it with this movie.
Oh, yeah.
It looks incredible.
He's one of the best, man.
Timmy looks awesome as well.
Yeah.
And so doesn't what's her name? Taylor. I can't remember her last name. The actress who stars alongside him, and then also the guy who plays his father in Call Me by Your Name's in this movie as well.
Oh, Michael Sternberg?
Yeah, he's in this movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I actually didn't watch the whole trailer. I just watched 30 seconds, and I was like, I don't want to spoil anything else.
It looks great. It looks really
the
dark.
imagery from what I saw looked really beautiful.
Moving on.
Yes.
Next bit of news, we have a new Planet of the Apes movie. So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes just got announced. It's going to have a release date in 2024. It is set several years after the last film. So if you missed the apes, don't worry. They'll be back. They'll be back.
At least it's not an Origins prequel.
It's going to be Origins for like the new kingdom. How did the kingdom start? Apes, Origins.
Post-Caesar Origins.
They wasted no freaking time, man. Like what, 5 years?
Not even 5 years.
What was War for the Planet of the Apes? It's 2019? 2018?
Yeah, 2019, I think.
So, I mean...
Oh, no, it was 2017. Wasn't it on our list that we just did?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
so
2017.
Yeah. All right.
It's been long enough. It's been long enough. It's I believe, Fox or Universal.
Universal? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But they make a lot of money. They are consistent
20th
money
Century
makers.
Studios, so it's Disney.
Yeah. All right, speaking of beloved properties, Tarzan has been acquired by Sony for a total reinvention of the character. I think this is actually very good news because Tarzan, historically, from its novelization and the adaptations, it's very much a white savior movie. And I was so shocked when they made the last one with Margot Robbie, Alexander Skarsgård, having Skarsgård play Tarzan. I thought it was a great opportunity to have a person of color play Tarzan, and it was just a complete missed opportunity. Fell into that white savior trope again. So hopefully, I believe going forward, calling it a total reinvention, it looks like they'll have a person of color playing Tarzan, which is, I think, the way it would work best.
Yeah, I think so too. So that's really cool news. And I loved the original Tarzan animated movie.
Oh, that was so great.
That movie's great.
Up. Yeah,
the Skarsgård movie, it's kind of soapy, and I was a little disappointed by it when it came out years ago.
Yeah, that was Margot did it right after Wolf,
and he looked so hungry that entire movie. I'm just gonna say he's shredded to shit, but my God, like him and Zac Efron in Baywatch, eat a sandwich, guys.
Did you hear about Zac Efron post Baywatch?
Yeah, I heard.
He said he went through a terrible depression,
like a mental breakdown. Yeah, I would too, because
that's not good for you. That messes your hormones up, messes your chemical balances up. Yeah,
messes your metabolism up. Like he was probably on the most strict diet
for a long time.
Horribly depressing lifestyle just to maintain that physique. It just sounds terrible, man.
Yeah,
sounds terrible. Look great, but at what cost? We have some news on Bruce Willis. So he has become the first celebrity to sell rights to a deep fake firm after retiring early this year due to an aphasia diagnosis. Now, I hope he's completely in his right sound mind when he made this decision, but this is pretty odd, and this probably won't be the first time this happens going forward, where somebody clearly has just sold the rights to their image to a deepfake firm who will now make content with the deepfake technology to basically reanimate him digitally and technologically, probably into commercials and TV shows and maybe even movies.
I don't think it's an odd choice by him at all. And so they released a family member released a video of him like a month ago, and he seemed like he was pretty solid. I would say it's actually a great choice. He's retired. Make a fat paycheck. Imagine what they paid him.
Oh yeah, obviously, and he's gonna get rights to everything. The family will get rights to everything. He'll get rights. Money to it. But don't you think it's odd to sell your image to a company?
That's the future. Every actor's gonna do that. This is the first of many.
Then there'll be no one on screen anymore. There's gonna be no one on camera.
This is the first. This is gonna be such a common thing, a commonality. A lot of actors, when they get older, they're gonna sell their likeness. It's gonna be super common. This is just the first.
Yeah, wow. Imagine you get paid for let's say Tom Brady reference for the day. You're Tom Brady, and you sell your rights to a firm to make commercials with your image. You never have to go to set. You never have to put on wardrobe. You don't have to fly to the location. They just make it, and no one can tell the difference. They just find a body double that has the same gangly 6'4" body as you, that drinks a lot of water and stretches a lot, and then they just put your face on it.
Yeah,
it's the future of production, I guess.
And also all forms of media, games.
It's kind of scary, but I mean, you're right. It's
VR.
Here. It's here, guys. It's
VR,
happening.
man.
It's happening. This is the first step. It's looking like it's happening.
This is going to be very common in 10 years.
I don't see it being a thing for movies, but I think it's starting with commercials is probably what it's going to be.
Not with just movie. Yeah, just in general, people's likenesses, famous people's likenesses.
So yeah, they'll have it.
Harrison Ford will do it next.
Yeah. So what they'll do is they'll use a stand-in with the same physique as the actor, and then they'll deep fake their face on top of it.
Yeah.
That's how advanced it's become. There are some scary accounts on TikTok that there's the Tom Cruise guy who looks just like Tom Cruise.
Ridiculous.
There's a Trump guy. There's another guy. It's
actually very scary technology.
It's really scary.
It's dangerous
stuff.
technology. I think deepfake is very dangerous.
Because people who don't live in the culture of what it's like, they think that it's actually like Tom Cruise in the comments. They think it's him.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
You can.
But I mean, you would know if Tom Cruise walked in.
You can influence people with that, and it's a possibility. It's a very dangerous possibility.
Speaking of Tom Cruise, Tom reference of the episode, we got our two Toms out of the way.
Good.
I was watching this great interview with John Hamm on Howard Stern, and we always try to tell people like Tom Cruise is the most famous person on the planet. He is like the biggest movie star alive, and people always think like, what about Brad Pitt? What about like Harry Styles?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is on such a different level that I was watching John Hamm talk about him because Howard Stern asked him about how he got cast in Top Gun, and John Hamm was talking about Tom Cruise like he was Santa Claus. He's like I met him at like Jimmy Kimmel's house, and like they have like their football parties there every Sunday, and like the rumor was like Tom Cruise was coming, and everyone at the party at Kimmel's house for the Sunday football games, like actors, celebrities, musicians, wealthy Hollywood
so already
people.
super famous
yeah,
people.
like A-listers. Yeah. Like John Hamm's an A-lister, Jimmy Kimmel is an A-lister, A-list party. And everyone's like, Tom Cruise is coming. Tom Cruise is coming. What? No, he's not coming. He's not coming. And then he says Tom Cruise walks through the goddamn door with his mom, and everyone was like freaking out. And Tom Cruise is so famous that John Hamm only got to talk to him for 5 minutes. And this was like 10 years ago when he was on Mad Men still. And when he talked to Tom, Tom's like, hey man, I loved Mad Men. I really love that show. You're great at it. And John Hamm's like, wow, man, thank you so much. And like, this is John Hamm. He's an A-lister. He was an A-lister with Mad Men.
He was Golden Globe winner, Emmy winner.
He was winning awards. He was so famous. And even to him, Tom Cruise was like
a unicorn.
Someone he never thought he'd meet in his life. That's how famous Tom Cruise is. I think that people need to put that into perspective when we talk about how big Tom Cruise is around the world. That's what A-list actor Hollywood people are like around Tom Cruise.
That's so cool.
He only got to talk to him for 5 seconds, he said.
5 seconds? Yeah. You said 5 minutes earlier.
5 seconds. He's like, I got to talk to him for like 5 seconds, that's it.
And like, because every A-lister was like in a line and group like swarming him, just like paparazzi.
Exactly. Because he was on Stern's show talking about how he got approached to be in Top Gun Maverick, and they reached out to him. So he got requested. He's like, and he tells his agent, he's like, yeah, whatever they want. They're like, yeah, well, we haven't figured out the money yet, or we haven't figured out your contract. He's like, you're all gonna be fired if this doesn't happen. I don't care what the money is. If I'm not in that movie, like you're all lose a job. I love it. It's so blunt.
That's great. I would have said the same thing.
You're like, you need to see a script. He's like, no, I'm good. I don't need a script. I don't care about the contract. Just figure it out, or you're fired.
So he was offered the role?
Yeah,
that's great.
They reached out to him.
I saw an interview with Patty Constantine and Matt Smith, and the interviewer asked what was the audition process was like, and Patty Constantine goes, I didn't audition, love. They offered it to me.
I mean, for House of Dragon?
Yeah, for House of Dragon. Okay. And then Matt Smith's like, I had to audition. He's like, I had one screen test.
Everyone's like, we're not sure about Matt Smith yet.
But Patty's like, I didn't audition. And then Matt's like, oh, you rubbing it in.
All right, let's move on.
Fans of Community, the movie's happening.
Yeah, officially.
The movie's actually happening for Community. Peacock TV is going to be producing the film. All of the main principal cast members are returning in their famous roles. So for all you fans of Community, get ready. It's coming.
People are going to love this, man.
5 years, 5 shows, 5 seasons in a movie finally happened like 10 years later.
I wonder if they'll get everyone back.
Everyone's back.
Even Glover's coming back?
I just said it.
That's so cool.
I just said it. It's confirmed.
Anyways, sorry,
confirmed.
Man. Moving on. Guillermo del Toro news. His new trailer for his kind of Twilight horror show called The Cabinet of Curiosities just released.
Yeah.
It looks really terrifying and lots of great horror and
Twilight
gore.
Zone, you mean?
No, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said Twilight.
Twilight Zone.
I was like, is it a vampire?
Guillermo del Toro's remaking Twilight. No, it's a Twilight Zone-esque horror show anthology series, Cabinet of Curiosities. Rupert Grinson, one of them. He's in the trailer. Really cool.
Yeah, it looks great.
Really cool to see him in some other projects because I know he was in the Snatch TV series.
Yeah, he's also been in the Shyamalan TV series on Apple, and then he's in Shyamalan's new movie.
We love a Ron Weasley moment.
He is coming back. He's coming back. Rupert,
come back, kid.
Rupert. I love him.
It's probably I feel like a lot of the Hollywood the Harry Potter actors had to wait until they matured because no one would accept them even when they were in their 20s to be in movies because they look so young and be like, it's just Ron Weasley. But now I accept them as not Ron Weasley.
Except, Radcliffe and Watson, they always did fine.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I think
she's not in as many movies as him.
She didn't have to be because she got paid every time.
I mean, she's Belle.
No, she was in some small films that nobody saw.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's in Bling Ring, Perks of Being a Wallflower, The Red Circle. She's Princess Belle. And
she was in that movie with Daniel Bruhl, where he's kidnapped. What's it called? Like I can't think of the name. Like a
Jiffy Lube.
Like a cult. A cult. Choosing that cult movie.
Oh, yeah. It's almost the same thing.
Jiffy Lube.
If you're not from America, Jiffy Lube is where you get your oil changed. Tire rotation, stuff
Great
like that.
Great prices. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Maybe try a coupon code. You never know.
Unsubscribe.
Raiders at jiffylube.com.
Raiders Lube.
jiffylube.com/Raiders.
Oh man, but yeah, no one saw that. But no, she always did fine. She didn't have to make that many movies because she was going to school still. She was going to school part time, so that's why she didn't do as many. Yeah. Radcliffe, I think, has always just been great with consistent work. He's just a talented guy. He's got a great face, so I think that he's suited as a movie lead.
Speaking of Radcliffe and Harry Potter, did you hear about Alan Rickman's diaries got sold by his family and they turned it into a book? Like they published his diaries. And I don't think he ever wanted this to happen because there's stuff written in there where he's bashing like the crew and cast of Harry Potter movies. Like
really? He
said like he hated the music that John Williams came up with for Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone. He said that the kids were bad actors. Like
they were.
He's like saying that like Radcliffe's not a great actor, but like he can see him being a producer, director someday, or maybe not a bad actor. He's like he's not like an actor.
Yeah, but was that written when they were making Sorcerer's Stone?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But now it's coming out and people are probably like, oh man, I can't believe he said this stuff. It's like it's personal diary.
Yeah.
That is crazy to me.
I know that from what I've read with Radcliffe, he had a great relationship with him as he grew older.
Exactly, but like you should be able to have your personal private diary
absurd.
To yourself. Then after you're dead, someone should just burn that thing.
That's terrible.
Like it seems like he didn't give permission to do this.
He would have sold it when he was dying. That's terrible.
Yeah, man. So I think he's getting a lot of
his own personal diary out in the open for everyone to read.
Yeah, and like negative stuff. Like that's
this is where you personally he's personally venting about things.
Like where you can't even say your thoughts in a diary anymore. People. You can't.
Put yourself in his shoes. He's an accomplished actor. And he's working with a bunch of 11-year-olds who have never acted in anything before. I'm sure it was frustrating at times, and having to go through take after take after take, and the kids they
don't know their lines.
They had to run 4 cameras simultaneously to try and capture the dialogue because the kids couldn't do their dialogue. They weren't doing 1 camera setup; they were doing 4 camera setups at all times to try and capture as much as they could that worked. So I imagine for being a seasoned veteran actor, it had to have been frustrating.
Yeah, or even the filmmakers. I feel like Christopher Columbus, like he aged during the production of the first 2 movies. The same with like Alfonso Cuarón, like went gray after Azkaban.
Yeah, but I mean, he seemed to have a great relationship with Radcliffe as he grew up.
It's pretty shocking.
And
man.
I'm sure he respected Radcliffe as an actor when he got older.
Probably great friends too, you know. And then to have Radcliffe read that, like I'm sure Radcliffe's like, yeah, I was a terrible actor when I was 11. Yeah.
He's so self-deprecating. He would be like, I'm still a terrible actor. He's not. He would say that. He would say that about himself.
But man, I think that's just crazy to me.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
All right, last bit of news. Going back to the MCU. So, Armor Wars, which was supposed to be a TV series starring Don Cheadle as War Machine, reprising his role in the MCU, is now going to be developed into a feature film. So I wonder if Marvel is realizing that maybe their shows aren't as performing as well as they thought they were. So maybe they're going to start moving some of the TV series they have planned into films.
I'd rather watch a movie than a TV show.
Me too, 100%.
Any day. So I'm all for that.
I'd much rather spend 2 hours watching something than 7 hours plus watching
over 2 months
18 of these TV series in 1 year.
Especially because, and I'm not knocking them, but a lot like Moon Knight could have been condensed into a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, I think it would have worked better as a movie.
It had the structure of a 2 hour movie. I think it would have been very good, very, very good as a movie.
I think it would have been a better production for sure, and better script too. I understand they're enticed to, that's like we've talked about the TV series or their launching pad to get the characters into the movies. But I think
I'm always saying stick to movies.
Movies are better, man.
Movies are great.
Movies are life.
Movies are lit.
This is cinema.
But this is a movie and TV podcast, though.
That's true. All right, I think that wraps our movie news.
It's the longest episode ever.
I think that was a lot of fun. That was really funny. That Jiffy Lube joke.
Emma Watson, the face of Jiffy Lube.
JiffyLube.com/Raiders. Just kidding. That URL will not work. Thanks for tuning into movie news. We have episodes this week coming for you. On Monday, we have Point Break with special guests. The Confused Breakfast podcast was a blast.
Great
talking
guys.
about
Great guys.
That movie. We had them in studio, so you'll be able to watch on Spotify or YouTube to see. We moved stuff around and had them on set the entire time, which is really cool. We've only done that a few times. And then on Thursday after that, we have The Fifth Element, and we are going to start doing our costumes, starting with that one, which was super fun.
James dressed up as Lilu.
I was Lilu. It was great. I wore the hell out of that orange wig.
And he wore the bikini too.
I wish.
Like the straps.
I didn't think I could pull it off.
You could have.
I don't know.
Your chest hair would have been flowing.
I would have braided it. All right, that wraps this. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you for watching Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well, notifications for sure. Listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, and be sure to check out this other content we have on our YouTube channel.